Very good morning to you. It's Tuesday the 27th of November 2018. This is Trucking TV. I'm Chris Gosling, and today we're doing something a bit new to us because, as you know, we do quite a lot of live video from the point of view of Trucking TV, which we can do now quite easily, and it's actually easier for us to do live video than it is to do pre-recorded. Today what we're doing is starting a sequence of small, tiny really, news programs to actually give you some information that we think you kind of need. We're going to start out by actually showing you something that you're pretty familiar with. Most people who actually know us will know that we report quite a lot of the crime that happens on trucks. The reason we report it is not some kind of prurient interest. It's because there's a lot of crime that happens to trucks, and the reality is that in many instances the police these days tend to walk away from it. That's the truth. We can't really say anything much else about it. If the values are extremely high, the police come and have a look and do what they can, I guess, forensically. But in reality, for smaller crimes, they don't do very much. And for what they think of as very minor crimes, which are nonetheless expensive from a corporate point of view for haulage companies and individual owner drivers, they don't really do too much apart from tell the people concerned to claim it on your insurance, which is not really an answer. Okay, going to show you something now, little picture, and this was taken yesterday, Monday morning. That was taken from a truck that was attacked. I think we have to use that word, attacked on Monday morning. I think in the early hours of Monday morning. It was down in Essex. It was near the Halfway House pub, and that's near the Dunton Ford Technical Centre in Essex. It was a cargo of dog beds that were made for a small Essex-based company. They sell those dog beds all around the country, and they're quite expensive items. And in reality, all the decent dog beds that they had on that wagon were taken. Okay, so what we're talking about is quite a large and, I guess I should say, serious raid. And that raid was, it didn't involve the driver. The driver, I think, knew nothing about it. There you go. It proves what can happen, doesn't it? And the dog beds were taken out of the vehicle after, I suppose, they did a sneaky peek and then cut a bit more. You can see the amount of damage that's been done just to the curtains, quite a lot. And you can see where they've left stuff that obviously wasn't of any interest to them, or maybe wasn't easily got to. So there you go. And that's the Facebook message that the owner of the beds, a company called Dogissimo, which is run by a nice chap called Rob Watson, who I've just spoken to on the phone. And Rob was saying that he is literally a one-man company. He's helped by his mum and his brother's girlfriend. What more can you ask? So that's the definition, really, of a small company, isn't it? And sorry about that, they had a load of those beds stolen to the value of about 15 grand. Now that doesn't sound like much, but for a small company doing individual products like that for the dog market, it's a big market, we have to agree, but that's 15 grand's worth of business that they will never get back. Everybody says, well, they'll get the insurance. Yeah, they will. We all know they'll get the goods in transit insurance, but in reality, the guy can't get any replacements in time for his busiest period of the year, obviously the Christmas period. They sell lots of dog beds at Christmas. It's a present for the dog. What can you say? Okay, but that's going to do his business an immense amount of harm. He can't get any more delivered in the UK for 4 to 6 weeks. Poor old boy. So I would say that's a lot of money's worth. 15 grand at retail price is a lot of business for Rob and his little business. Okay, what do we have to say about this? Well, he's reported it. Obviously, they've reported it to the police. The police weren't spectacularly interested, but he did put it on his Facebook page, got a lot of interest from dog owners who shared it all over the place, and he developed a lead or two of people who were reported to be selling this kind of product on Instagram. Don't know about eBay, and I don't know about anywhere else, but they were actually selling on Instagram. He took that detail to the police, and the police weren't really interested. What can we say? Well, we can say that in reality, maybe they could have caught the people who did it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. It doesn't look very likely. But from my point of view, as an individual, if you like, I would say that poor Rob is probably not going to go very far with that one. He's going to have a very poor financial Christmas because of this robbery. So if you are offered a dog bed, Dogissimo, then for goodness sake get in touch with Rob at Dogissimo. Get in touch with the police. I've been offered this and I think it might be stolen. So let's try and do something about this one, because this is a young guy running his own business who uses haulage companies. Okay, this is not the haulage company's fault, it's the crooks, but the reality is that his business has been damaged, and wouldn't it be nice if we could help him out a bit? Okay, let's move on to the next thing. This is what you might call a sneaky peek, and this was in Tibshelf last night. That's Monday night. Gentleman called James took this photo and the next. We nicked it from the page that it was pasted onto, so my apologies to you, James, but we wanted to show it so that you could see, what it is, what's happening. There's another one. It's another one at another angle, and it was taken like that so they could look both ways. You have to be honest enough to say that the thieves who do this kind of thing are quite clever. They're smart. They're very quiet. They know what they're doing. We often talk about people say to us, and people say online quite frequently, that why didn't the driver get disturbed? Why didn't the driver know anything about it? Well, the reality is, I don't know if you've sat in an Arctic lately when it's being unloaded, and even in, even in quite quiet circumstances, you don't really notice a great deal of movement. We'll do a little piece on this at some point in the future, but to be blunt with you, if you're reasonably well asleep, then you're not going to be woken up by a bit of movement in your vehicle, because most drivers are used to sleeping in places like lay-bys and service areas where there's always stuff on the move. So the reality is, you don't notice. Vehicles are designed to be pretty robust, and they don't just bounce about like a car does if someone moves slightly. So the reality is, you can easily sleep through a robbery, and the guys who are doing the robberies practice a lot. They know what they're doing. Okay, let's just look at that again. That's what we call a sneaky peek, isn't it? Okay. What's next? Well, what's next is just a little picture to show you how the vehicles were actually parked together at Tibshelf. That's James's vehicle on the left, I think, there. Yep. So let's just get that one back. Whoops, excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, so that's, I think, James's vehicle on the left, and he got peeked. Nobody stole anything from him, but they had to look to see if he had anything wildly exciting. And we've got Nikki Nunu Bradshaw. Morning, Nikki. Well, yes, we're trying to tell the world what happens in the world of trucking, and the reality, as we all know, is that it's not a place where the drivers are taken care of, and it's not actually a place where the transport companies or the drivers get much of a fair deal from the rest of the world. Okay, you pay 30 quid a night, and for the privilege you stand a chance of your vehicle being broken into, don't you? So if you're a lorry driver who spends odd nights out, or a lot of nights out, as many people do, you're probably used to seeing a sight like this when you wake up in the morning. Just not a good idea, is it? What a waste of space. So these guys really, there's a lot of them about, and they are a lot of, well, let me say the word, there's a lot of crooks out there, guys. And that's sad. Okay, what else have we got? Well, let's just go on a bit. I've got one bit of really nice news, I have to tell you, that I think this is really rather good. Let's show you this. This is the Riverside Cafe at Colnbrook. It's got an extremely good reputation for food and drink, let me tell you. And it also has now a secured parking facility. They now apparently have security, I think it's Monday to Friday on their site, or maybe Monday to Thursday, I'm not sure, you'll have to check with them. But they offer parking for around 40 wagons for around 15 quid a night, and the 15 quid apparently includes a £3 voucher towards the grub. What more can you ask? That sounds like a damn good deal, and they've actually got some security on site, which is even better. I do think that you need security on sites, and all of those motorway service areas where they don't have any security and where they get robbed regularly, like Tibshelf, deserve to take, or need to take, a pull at themselves and get into the real world. The police are cutting back, we know that from the previous story. So we know that motorway service areas and other HGV parking areas need to actually up their act and get some security online and some security on site when drivers are parking loads of any value. Not necessarily high value loads, but loads of any value at all, because we all know that the thieves will take nearly anything as long as they can find a market for it. What more can we say? Okay, my name's Chris Gosling. This is Trucking TV, and now we're going to leave you just with another little look at that shot of the Riverside Cafe. Looks like a really nice place, doesn't it? I'm impressed with it, and next time I'm in that neck of the woods, I'm going to go and try their steak and kidney pie. It looks delicious. Okay, I'm Chris. I'll see you soon.